In tonight's Health Edge, the FDA just approving the powerful painkiller Oxycontin for the use of children as young as 11.
But is this a good idea in a country that is struggling with opiate addiction? Chief Health Editor Dr. Partha Nandi here now to talk more about this one. And Doc, what do you think?
You know, all three of us have kids, right? So it's a big issue for me. But what's happening is that kids don't have a lot of options for pain therapy. So especially kids with cancer therapy, end of life. There's only one other long-term or long duration pain medicine, which is Duragesic or fentanyl. So we really need it. And so doctors who treat young kids for cancer pain, they think this is great because kids can then be kids and not have to worry about the pain. They can go to physical therapy. They can do what they're supposed to. So I think it's a welcome change for kids who suffer from this pain.
Yeah, so cancer pain and things like that, that's real pain for children, but is this necessary?
I think it really is because of the fact that, like I said, these people don't have a need. What we worry about is the addiction potential, right? So 1 in 25, studies show 1 in 25 teenagers in America have actually tried or abused Oxycontin. That's a huge number to me. So then if you introduce it and make it legal for these kids, people say, well, are we going to have a bigger addiction problem? What I say is that, you know what? If you are a doctor prescribing it, make sure you give limited quantities. Sometimes you give way more than kids need. Limited quantities. Check your state's prescribing so you can look and see if Johnny's had somebody else prescribing it. And lastly, parents should be giving that drug and not having kids administer it independently. So important, I think, but the addiction potential is high because kids' brains are not as developed, and so I think they can have addiction. There's definitely concerns, but I think this is a welcome change for people who treat cancer pain in kids.
Okay.
Other dangers of this drug? What else do you think it could lead to other than addiction?
I think you could have overdosing, clearly, and also people can switch from Oxycontin to heroin. So a lot of people who then begin to use these painkillers, it becomes too expensive, so heroin becomes cheaper. So we've seen them switch over. So the potential is tremendous. So I think that we should be careful. But if your kid needs it, if you have a patient who needs it, please don't be afraid to prescribe it.
All right, before you go, Doc, we want to get your input on this one. Wall Street taking a very unusual step following Netflix with maternity leave, only with a twist.
Yeah, a Wall Street firm upping that ante. Giving companies the availability to have a longer maternity leave. The company KKR will offer this option up until the child's first birthday. They'll pay for additional transportation, lodging, meal expenses. New parents, including those who adopt or use a surrogate, will also get 4 more weeks of paid maternity leave. That's up to 16.
Yeah.
We saw Netflix recently shook things up on this, giving new parents an unprecedented year of paid leave.
I love it.
A lot more love for new parents.
I do, and I think I love it because there's more bonding. As parents, you guys work really hard and you get less time. So in especially the first few months, the more bonding you have, the better off you are. So I think if you can make it easier for parents to do that, I think they'll actually work more effectively because they're not always thinking about that, and they're not always trying to, make sure that they try to balance it out. If the companies helps them, listen, it's part of work, and guess what? You have more loyal employees. I think that's the bottom line. So I love it. I think, parents and kids need to be together more. That develops better health for the parents and the kids. So I love it.
Even travel included?
Absolutely. I take my kids sometimes when I go do some work stuff outside, and I take them with me because guess what? They need to see dad, and dad needs to see them work. As they grow up, because you miss those times.
Yeah.
They're only 2 or 3 once. So I love it. I take them on my work trips sometimes if I can, and I think it's great idea.
How much, in terms of the medical industry, is responsible for this sort of change? Is the message finally getting through with what you folks are saying?
I think so, but I think as important as companies want to retain employees, and what they realize is that kids, adults, people who have been in companies for a long time even value that balance, right? The work-life balance is super important. I love it because as a physician, people are healthier both physically and emotionally. But these people are going to lose employees because guess what? I have to make an option between my job and my kids. Who are you going to pick? Curtis will pick, and Glenn will pick your kids all day long. Yeah. So then if you can mesh the two, ball game, right? You keep your employees and your kids happy.
An 8-hour day feels long sometimes, Doc. Thank you so much.
Worked an 8-hour day 10 years ago.
Dave, what do you think over there? Besides it's hot, you're a daddy with dreams.
Oh, yeah, exactly. My dreams are somewhere in the Riviera, actually.